I wanted to start out with because I don't think I ever asked you what prompted you to do your first book, and I know you got a number of books now. You got what, over 30 books out?
I think it's over 40, John. I don't know the exact number, it's like I knew you would ask me that question, and that means I got to go to my resume and I got to count them all down. And but it's at least 40, 43, something like that.
Oh wow!
But in reference to your question, what prompted me? It's one of those stories where opportunity was developed, and I took advantage of it. And by that I mean I had bought a book from, I think it was Security World. This is back in the late 70s. And I got the book, and I looked at it, and I goes, God, this book is crap. And there was a little card attached to the publisher that says, they wanted to review. What did you think of the book? I said, I thought this book was awful. I wasted my money, etc., etc. So then I got a phone call from the publisher, and he wanted to take me to lunch. So I said, okay. So we met at a spot in the middle between his office and my office, and we had lunch. And so I told him that I was not happy with the book that I purchased, and I said there was nothing in it that practitioners need. I said, can you tell me where in your books that you have a set of directions for people to prepare key control? And he says, I don't have that. I says, do you have in any of your books a description of all the different types of according to the energy effectiveness of each bulb? No, I don't have that. And so then I asked him something about the intrusion alarms, because I knew I had them. Because if you keep saying, no, I don't have this, I don't have that, then you certainly don't have a system, a direction of intrusion alarms, and what practitioners need to know. And then he says, what you're saying, Larry, is we need to put together a handbook. I says, that's right. Practitioners need the information on what I just asked you, and you don't have it. So he says, okay, when do you want to start it? I goes, no. I'm not going to start no goddamn book. I am telling you this is what you need. And he says, well, you're the guy obviously that knows what I need, so therefore you're the guy to write the book. So then we'll talk later on about proposals to publishers later on in our conversation. So I had to come up with an outline, which I sent to him, and the outline and that note was based on the training manual from the National Crime Prevention Institute that I had attended a couple of years earlier, whereby there was information in it on risk management, on key controls, on lighting, on alarms, access control, and a whole variety of things. So then I went out and tried to get about 20 experts to write on their field of expertise on lighting and locks and all that kind of stuff. And that was how I came up with the first handbook of loss prevention and crime prevention that's now in the 6th edition. So from that one little meeting and lunch, that prompted my career.
Oh, wow.
I had an opportunity to do other books afterwards, and then you get into the design of the books, because the second and third book had all of the physical security information, all the stuff, cameras, and everything else, because it applied to museums and it applied to the industry. That was the second and third book. So it's going to get a little easier and easier as we get along.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic story, and I didn't know that was your first book. So, and that book is still going strong.
Gotcha. And of all of the books I've done, every book I've done, the 6th edition of the Loss Prevention Handbook of Loss Prevention and Crime Prevention, I think now is the best. Because one of the things I started doing, John, was writing long chapters. And when I say long chapters, I'll pick something and I'll give you them. Crime prevention, we started writing.
That cut out a little bit. That was crime prevention through environmental design?
Yes. It's a chapter, I think we called it something like effective no, encompassing septet in 2022, 2025 and beyond. It's now, this one chapter is up to 77 pages, because I would find something else, include it, footnote it, to go through my whole process so that everything's done properly. See, what people don't realize, that there is a copyright law that is very, very stringent. The copyright application is for everybody's work. Whatever you write, whatever you do. Say one of your books, John, has a great definition on, let's say, guns, and I wanted to use it in my book. If it's beyond 50 words, I have to get permission to use it. But basically, it's very hard to describe one theme like guns and an AK-47. You just cannot say it in 50 words. It goes far beyond. So people have to be careful so that you're not later on being accused of plagiarism.
Yeah, they call it, I guess, fair use. Like you said, fair use of utilizing or using an author's work. If you're going beyond 50 words and you're not really citing it, you're actually plagiarizing it.
Yeah, if it's not footnoted, then it looks like you wrote it.
Yeah.
And it's something that publishers do. They get a paper, they Google it. They'll Google, say, maybe a couple of sentences at the beginning, and then it'll pop up. It comes back to them, and then they'll see the source, and then they can check your source. And is it footnoted properly? It's tough.
Let me ask you this, because that's interesting. So if you are writing something and you find, I don't know, I did a piece for one of your books. It's just I don't know, 2 pages, maybe 3 pages on septet country clubs.
Yeah, right.
So if you like that and you go beyond 50 words and you footnote me, that's fine. That's fair use.
Yeah, because you gave the publisher permission to use in the septet book. And I'm talking about, like, say you don't know me. It's not your book. You just, it was someone else's book that I did this piece on septet, and you like. Right. Now you're writing another book, and you like it. If you go beyond, say you use 2 or 3 paragraphs of my thing, and you cite it at the bottom, does that count as fair use? Is it beyond 50 words?
Yes.
No.
So you need their permission then?
The 50-word rule governs everything, all of them. Even U.S. government printing material, 50 words. But that's off. I hate it because you can't say much in 50 words. Like, your first question to me was, what prompted me to write my first book? I can't say all of that and be complete in under 50 words. So it's a problem.
Yeah.
But as long as everybody knows, don't touch it. If you have any doubts, like, if you look at the beginning of the book and it might say, all material in this book is reserved under copyright laws. Permission is needed from the author, or permission is needed from the publisher, whether it's electronic or whatever it is. There's always disclaimers. You got to read those disclaimers, because I'll tell you, if you violate, then they own you. They could commit you for your royalties.
Oh wow.
Because John, you wrote it. That's your work, and you wrote it under another book. Even maybe it's the CRC copyright, and we're putting it into an Elsevier book. So it gets tricky. You got to be careful.
Yeah. I got a question for you with regards to that. Like, with my books, I own the copyright.
Yeah.
But by contract, as long as the book is out there under the publisher's thing, so I can't, like, repackage it and
right.
And sell it. I have to wait until the contract expires and or a certain time frame. When you write your books, do do they copyright it? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I sign over the copyright of the work to Elsevier, which is my principal publisher. But here's something too that we should talk about. You and I spend a lot of time putting together these books of ours, and if you want to have a cover, front cover, back cover, with a specific message on it, or a specific theme, or a certain way, you can design the cover, give it to the editor for approval, and 99% of the time they approve it. Like I don't think I have any here, but I wanted to say, no. We designed covers with words going horizontal.
I saw that. Yes, that's sharp. Yeah. You actually designed that?
Yes, we did.
Oh, wow.
We designed it because we wanted specific words to be right in the center, like, say, risk management, right in the center, to be a grabber when someone's looking at the cover. Then same with your back cover. You might want to have a photograph. You might want to list all of your books in the back, and so be it. But you could put all of that in the contract.
Oh, wow.
Now, another thing about contract is publishers give you so many free books. For me, at least, I get 10. I see that in the contracts that they send me, they will send me a contract that's allowed to have 5 free books. I always scratch out 5 and I put in 10. Then they'll put in the contract what your royalties are going to be. Now, this is really important for authors to be aware of, because on the question of royalties, publishers offer a variety of royalties. It's not all one standard fee. Now, by that I mean, this is your very first book that you're doing in this field of security. They may only give you 8%. You should demand 16 because everybody else gets 16. And you're working just as hard. And if they say no, then say they can't punch. Don't do it. Because we put so much time into writing one book. We're making about barely 50 cents an hour. And to everybody listening to this podcast, do not think that there is a ton of money to be made in books. Your name is not Michael Conley. You are not Lee Chuck. You're not James Patterson. Those guys are making a ton of money, but the books are being turned into movies on Netflix, and that's where the money is. Or in security field, the money is in being a security consultant. But you better have a damn good book to continue. Anyway,
that's great advice, Larry. That with my contracts, I learned through my first editor that I could get more books. And you're right. I think it was like 5 books. And I said to her, I've got 20 investigators alone that contributed to this book.
Right.
I need a book for each. Plus, I need a couple for me. A lot of people that are out there that are writers or authors, they think that you got a ton of books. I got people asking me, "Oh, where can I get a book?" I sometimes I feel like saying in a bookstore, because everyone wants a free book, and I wish I could give everyone a free book, but we do go into this not like you said, not to make a ton of money. It would be nice if you did, but we go into it to at least get compensated somewhat for, like you said, if you broke it down to the hourly rate of writing, and then out in the field, where I go out in the field and I go to these sites and I'm interviewing people and it's gas spent, you're making pennies on the hour. I did not know though, and I'm going to try that the next time with my publisher. I did not know that I could sit there and request a higher percentage in my royalties. Your iPhone, your camera went out again.
I did it. Okay. I got another phone call. Come on.
Perfect. You're back.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I did not know. I did not know that. They have been. They're in a contract. If you sell, I forget. I don't even know what I'm getting right now. To be honest with you, I think it's 11%. I don't even know. I think I started out 7 to 8, and then the more the books sell, if you sell over 1,000, you get that thing. So I'm up. I'm at. I'm somewhere around 11 to 12. I think I have to check. But then again, it gets. It's hard to really track royalties because when they send you these things, how many physical books did you sell? How many ebooks did you sell? It gets convoluted.
I can tell you, Lou Tiska, my book partner for years before he died, he was always that we're getting screwed. And because like you said, you get your statements and you see the check. The check you can read, check says X number of dollars. But then when they break it down to define, like I just got a lot royalty check ever, John. It was in March.
Go ahead. What was that again? You was cut out a little bit. What did you say about it?
I said I just got the very largest royalty check of ever in last March. But then when you go to read the contract they sent you that says royalty checks, not royalties, so many books were sold emails by e-copies, e-commerce, whatever they call it. It gets so complicated you can't understand it. But I'm glad we had a chance to let people know that you do have options in your contract and because you're governed to it. One final thing about a contract, you may be given a date that says a completion date. And let's say that the completion date is December 1st. And as you get into November and you need 2 more weeks extension, they'll give it to you. If you say to them, I'm done with this, but I need more time because Thanksgiving's cutting into my writing style or something like that, you give them a beat and they'll give you an extension. But they may only give you one. They're not going to give you 2, 3, 4, 5 extensions.
Yeah. Deadlines and timelines are important. But yeah, I have done that as well. Sometimes I did that for my second book. I misjudged how long it would take me to write it, and then unfortunately, when that was going on, my mother was dying.
Yeah.
So the first book, Jersey Troopers, was very popular, and my second book wasn't as good. My writing, at that point. A lot of people write. It kind of happened with you too. A lot of people will do a few books or a few short stories, a few manuscripts, if you will, before they actually get picked by a publisher. I got picked on my first book, so my writing process is catching up to the number of books that I actually had published. And my second book, again, I was rushed, like I said, but my son jokes around. He says, Dad, your second book is kind of like Jaws 2. It's not that good. Jaws was good, but Jaws 2 wasn't. So, but the purpose of that was to pay tribute to the troopers, which I think I did. The third book was whether I could actually put a full narrative together. So the writing process is pretty good. Let's go. Let me. You wanted to talk about seeking a publisher, and I think that's a good topic to talk about.
Yeah. In the security field, there are really 3 major publishers. You got CRC Press, that the editor is in Massachusetts, and I've known Mark for way over 25 years. Then you got the American Society for Industrial Security, but they just printed their protective assets books, and that's all they're interested in publishing because they're not that soft when it comes down to books. There's something wrong with them. Anyway, then there's Elsevier Publishing, which is a division of Butterworth Honeyman. Most of my books are done with them. Now, I did do a little draft of some information. The editors are going to ask you for a proposal. Now, this proposal should not be a one-page deal. You have to sell and market this product. As an example, you have the greatest idea in the world, and let me make something up. 3-wheel bicycles. What is so important about 3-wheel bicycles? You're going to put this in a proposal. You get different manufacturers, you get different colors, you get different sizes, and you're going to be the expert eventually in this field. The publisher wants to see from you a total scope of writing. What is the table of contents on 3-wheel bicycles that you're planning on putting together that you want them to sell and market for you? They're going to want to see a sample of the sample of your writing, a sample of the art that you're writing.
A sample of what? That was cut out a little bit.
A sample of your writing and a sample of the chapters. Like say you're talking about spokes and wheels or thick tires, whatever it might be. They want to see some sample of topic which tells them you know what you're talking about and they like the idea. Now, you also want to include your resume and samples of previous writings. Now, why am I saying all of this? Because here's something that you don't know. They will send you a proposal to 2 or 3 guys to review and to come back with a feedback as to, like they say to me, I say to you, John, what do you think about this proposal on 3-wheel bicycles, John? And there's a series of questions they'll ask you. And you might think, and I'll tell you the truth, I've done numerous book reviews. And when it's a proposal that you like, it's easy to write about. But when it's a proposal that's crap, that you don't want, you don't like, that's very hard to answer their question. And I'll give you an example. I had a proposal I was reading about canine dogs. Now, John, you and I both been in law enforcement. We know the value of a canine dog. But how many books can you sell on canine dogs? Maybe to the canine trainers, maybe to the dog handlers, maybe the chief of police might buy it because he wants it in his department. But a small number of people are going to be, the audience is small. It's not there. So therefore, the money's not there for the publisher. The publisher's not going to approve the proposal. That's why they go out to reviewers. And if I said to the publisher, I don't think you're going to make much money in this book, I don't think this book's going to sell, they have that in the back of their head. They already know that this book is not a big seller, not a big winner. Now, it's not being used in certifications. It has a limited use, and therefore they're not going to go with your proposal. Your proposal you have to say so much and just fill it up with, let me use the phrase, BS, to sell the product. You got a product in your head that you want to write down and you want to sell it and market it. And that's the way you have to do it. Because it's not going to go through the review process and survive.
You know, you mentioned that about marketing it, and in the proposals that I had to do, I had to express where do I think the book would be marketable, and why do I think the book would sell. Because, you know, let's face it, publishing is a business. They want to make money. They're not going to publish a book unless they think they can make money off the book.
Absolutely.
So, did you have to, in the security field, I guess they kind of know their domains, I guess, but you had mentioned about the chiefs of police. When you do that, like your marketing, so do you have to suggest a marketing campaign through ASIS or through, how does that work?
You would have to, like, who's interested? They want to know who's interested in buying the book.
The money is ready. If you'll please tell me where you want us to take it, we'll take it. Shortly.